Welcome everybody to the Broken Ring Racing League. This is Season 9, Round 4 at Daytona International Speedway for the road course. We have a record-breaking attendance for a league race that isn't, at the start of a season or even at the end of a season. There's over 44 people, or actually 45. I can't count. Give me a second. 45 drivers on the grid. And we're going to be moving ahead shortly. You can see there's 3 minutes and 20 seconds left on practice. We got a lot of new drivers, a lot of new faces. People in the top 10 that I've never seen before. So this is going to be a very interesting race. I'm not even sure what the pace looks like for some of these drivers is. You'll notice the relative is a little different this time around. It is going to show position plus car number, driver name, the current interval, a gap between the two drivers, driver ahead, driver behind, the manufacturer of the car that they're driving with, their safety rating, their I rating, and then lastly, the part at the very end there is a couple people or 3 people have decided to blow up their cars. I think that's Eric Koonsman, Peter Flanner, Dylan Maroney. Oh, look at the weather tech of another driver just coming in there and backing into them. That's not what you'd like to see in practice. A little bit of sportsmanship, folks. Gamesmanship, maybe trying to psych out the other drivers there. As you can see, the guy in P6, that name is really small to witness. That's Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann. I'm saying that right, I believe. Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann. That's a mouthful, but he's in P6 in practice. Peter Flanner is leading it overall right now. We're gonna get we'll get some interesting graphics up in a second. So far, the results. Peter Flanner in P1 in practice with 1 minute 30 seconds to go. He's got a 144.095. Behind him is Christopher Daniel, almost 2.5 tenths off. Trey Mistek also about 3 tenths off in P3. It's a lot of interesting results here. This is just practice. As I'm scrolling through, you can see. And as a reminder, on that to look at their last lap, that is the far right side on the relative. That is what that is tracking. Only that, as Cooper McCoy is sitting P5 in practice. We got a lot of new teams as well. I'm going to try to introduce them if I can. And I don't even think these drivers are on the grid right now. Well, we got Alec Brown in Rim Racing with Rodrigo Theory. So that's one new team. And I believe that's another driver has crashed into a wall. We got Micah O'Shins, not on a team, but a new addition to the league here. There's Rodrigo Theory of Rim Racing. We have Inca Salsa Racing Queso. So second Inca Salsa Racing team. The first one being Ricardo Espino and Craig Brick. The second team, I'm not even sure if the drivers are on the grid. We got 2 seconds left to go in practice ending. But those 2 drivers, actually, no, they're here. Ryan Moore and Matt R. Foster of Inca Salsa Racing Queso. And we got a Pax Oceani Crab Cake. So we have the Alpha, Bravo, now Crab Cake. That's a lot of drivers for the Pax Oceani group there. Is Justin Scott and the Weather Tech Mercedes there. Almost out front. He's got Peter Flanner, Andrew Korostecki, and Trey Mistek is going to lead it. It should be a very exciting race. It is a long race. 10 minutes of qualifying, followed by a 90-minute race. Everyone's expected to do a 2-stop. Tire changes will probably be necessary for at least half, if not for full. And before we do that, we see the Pax Oceani Crab Cake team of Matthew Baldwin and his teammate JD Daniel. So that's 3 teams that the Pax Oceani are fielding here. And I'm not going to put any comparisons here, but they can bully anybody on the grid right now. As we have a driver off there in the background, and I believe that was Alec Brown, maybe. But that is going to be quite something to see what these drivers can do. And a team, 3 separate teams, sister teams that are all can work together in some fashion because they are all in a voice chat together. Let's see what the Pax Oceani can do. I mean, maybe they're going to convert a couple more drivers to their cause and have a Delta team. That is quite something. And into turn 1 we go. Trey Mistack is leading us off with his first push lap. Give us a few weeks and we'll be taking over the entire field. I bet it, Groves. I bet it. Trey Mistack was P2 in practice. Ooh! This might just be a banker lap for him right now, because almost lost the rear there. And he's got a driver of Noah Hodgkinson 3.1 seconds ahead of him. I don't think that's going to matter at the moment. Peter Flanders is the driver he's got to beat, and Peter Flanders behind him might get a little bit of a tow. So, unfortunately, the driver who is in P1 in practice, Peter Flanders, behind the driver who's in P2. That doesn't work in favor for Trey Mistack. Let's see how this is going to shake up in qualifying here, as he's got just a couple more corners to contend with. Not anymore. We'll see him on the home stretch here. And it's all about the 144s, or can Trey put it, provisionally on pole, but Peter Flanders is going to possibly dethrone him there, as Peter Flanders does set the fastest lap right after him. It was kind of expected off of just what practice has shown us. And the drivers will come into play here. We have Inca Salsa Racing of Craig Brick here. Kind of curious to see where he's at. I haven't seen this driver on the grid yet. What can he do to perform here? As he's in the bus stop right now. You can see the leaderboard is shifting quite heavily right now. Peter Flanders with a 145.5. That is expected to go to a 144, no doubt. JD Daniel of the Pax Oceani Crab Cake team putting it there in P4 with Alan Paris of the Pax Oceani Bravo team putting it on pole. And Alex Othen in P5. Christopher Daniel of the Pax Oceani Alpha team in P8. Zahir Kabani just behind. Put that in P6. Wow. Craig Brake went into P19 with his lap. Taking a look at someone who hasn't gone out there and has a push lap yet. This would be Jacob Simmons. This might not be his... this is probably his push lap now, but he's in the thick of traffic. Jacob Simmons does not have a time on the board. We should see him in the top 10. He is, of course, part of the his teammate, Chris Lambeth, of the Bush's Baked Beans with Lamb Dog Duke Memorial Race Team. Trey Mistack setting the fastest lap just there. You saw that pop up. And I believe that's an American flag at the back end there. If not, something quite different. Yeah, it is. It is. It's when Elliott Burton goes fastest with a 145.004. Still no driver in the 144s, but we've seen them in the 144s. Ow. I was actually mistaken. There are more than 45 drivers in this one. There's 47 drivers that have joined us for this race. It's anyone's game here. And where did that put you? Jacob Simmons still with no time on the board. So that must have been his outlap. And he's got two drivers of the Pax Oceani Bravo team of Alan Paris and Alex Othen just right there with him. There in the background is Christopher Daniel, Jason Chen just ahead of him. I think these guys go out on the grid together. And look at that, Jason Chen conceding lap position on track right there. Maybe he just went off. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here for Jacob Simmons. He is a fast driver. Elliott Burton in P1 provisionally. Tyler Anderson also P2. Trey Mistak in 3. Peter Flannery went down to P6. The driver who was fastest in practice is in P6 right now. And it doesn't look like he's on track. I think I just don't have enough data to see. Some of these drivers are just not going to be captured on my my live timing sheet here because they're on the other side of the track. And he lets both drivers by. Rafael Santos in P8. That's a new driver I've never seen before. I think Mike Braun might be new. Alexander Light is definitely new. He's sitting in P23. And Jacob Simmons goes across the line to finish P7 provisionally. Now, where is Trey Mistak? He's sitting in P3 right now, but is Peter Flanner out there? Peter Flanner is out there. He's P6. We got 1 minute, 37 seconds left. He's going to have another go at this. And he's got a tow of Michael O'Shins, a driver is definitely new to the grid here. I've never seen him before. And look at that. Using all that, he goes to P1 with a 144.951. What a, not even a surprise. He was expected to do it, and he did it. Trey Mistak has another attempt at it. He's sitting P4 at the moment. Is Tyler Anderson out on track out there? Yeah, he is. He's going to the bus stop. He's P3. What can he do here? Can he respond? We got Draft Punk Racing locking out the top row, the first row on the grid. Teammates not having to really fight each other into turn 1 is going to help them out if they can keep this together. Tyler Anderson can split that. Jay Smart goes to P6. What a move. Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann in P9 there. Zahir Kabani gets knocked down to P10, but he's still in the fight there. Rafael Santos, new to the scene here. He's in P11. Tyler Anderson does not respond. Elliott Burton's still out there. What can Trey Mistak do? He's in the Sector 2, going into Sector 3. He's right there before the bus stop. What's Trey Mistak capable here? He's projected to do a slightly slower lap than his previous. Maybe he finds time in the bus stop. And as I'm saying that, there's another driver that's looking to improve, and that is Jacob Simmons. I'm not sure he's going to stick with it. Qualifying is ending. Any driver still out on track, they're the only ones that are going to be recording a time as Trey Mistak goes into the pit lane. He's going to accept concede his place. Alan Parrish is still going for it. Jay Smart is still out there on track, trying his best here. Elliot Burton is sitting in P2. His teammate in P1. And let's see if he can beat out his teammate for the top step as he crosses the line. Is that better? He's got to get a 144.951 or better, and his last lap was not an improvement on that. And I feel like I should have expanded this scorecard because that is a lot of drivers on this grid. Jay Smart does not improve his time there. He sits P6 still. Alex Authen into the pit lane. Austin McGill crossing the line to take P7. Goes faster. Jumps about 10 people there. And he's going to slow it down and not put it in the wall. That's pretty good. Mark Foley also parking it. Jason Chen. He's got 30 seconds to go. Is he going for it? What kind of livery is this? It looks like a meme. And it is it's a little bit of a meme. I'm not sure what to make of that one. We're just waiting for Jay Smart. And this race is about to commence. It's going to be a long run. Go look at the results here. That's not going to be that great. This is going to be a long list here. You can see on the side, it will scroll through it, but Peter Flander P1, Elliot Burton P2, Tyler Anderson 3, Trey Messek 4. Try to see if I can get to a driver. Okay, we're on a driver. Alan Parrish 5, Jay Smart 6, Austin McGill 7, Christopher Daniel 8. Jacob Simmons 9, Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann is 10, Zahir Kabani is 11, Rafael Santos 12, JD Daniel 13, Alex Authen 14, Justin Scott 15, Matthew Wyckoff 16, Cooper McCoy 17, Mark Foley 18, Chris Lambert 19, Michael O'Shins in 20, Chris Schitterling in 21, Dylan Maroney 22, Richard Severin 23, Noah Hoskinson in 24, Mike Braun in 25, Bryce Braun back in 26, Blake Nave in 27, Alexander Light in 28, Craig Brick in 29, John Javecki in 30, Andrew Korostecki in 31, Eddie Layton in 32, Jeff Koffold in 33, Charles Whedon in 34, Jason Chen in 35, Eric Rodriguez 36, Rodrigo Theory 37, Andrew Cody 38, Matthew Baldwin in 39, Craig Carroll in 40, Ryan Moore in 41, Jeff Lubish in 42, Eric Koonsman 43, Ricardo Espino in 44, Steve McAllister 45, Nicholas Mazza in 46, Creighton Kale in 47, Alec Brown in 48. That's the grid. That's a lot of people. So we will see what happens here in this race. I kind of want to look at this. That is, we can't even see the full grid here. And it's still not complete, and I don't have the bandwidth to be pulling in the entire grid at this moment. Did not expect this one to be such a everyone's here. Everyone decided to come out for this one. So Creighton. It's Creighton. Was there a Creighton in the? Oh, Creighton Kale in 47. All right, let's see where he mixes up in this this fight. And round 4 at Daytona is going to start off in just a second as the safety car is going to pull in. We'll get some racing. Draft Punk Racing locking out that front row. This is going to help them in terms of strategy for the first lap, as well as pushing after this. Unless Trey Misak can do something, maybe Tyler Anderson might as well. Get away clean. Tyler Anderson holding the inside line into turn 1 they go. And it is so far so good. No, so far so good. Andrew Korsecki has suffered a crash. Jason Chen in an incident. It's shaking up in the backfield. There's Austin McGill holding his own. He's down 1 position at the start of this race. You'll see that on the right side there in the relative. We got Giancarlo, Manetti, Schliemann able to hold off what's happening in the backfield. I'm not even sure who that is. Is that Ralph Santos? Yes, it is. He's down 2 positions. He has the Pax Oceani groups of Bravo and Alpha and Bravo, more than likely. I can't even tell the difference right now. JD Daniel, that's actually Crab Cake. This is Bravo and Crab Cake. They have too many drivers on the grid, folks. That's 6. And Rafael Santos down 2 positions, but it looks like he's going to stem the bleeding there as he doesn't have to contend with Matthew Wyckoff for the moment. And further back, we have Eddie Layton as he's holding his own. He's up 4 positions. Charles Whedon up 5. Jason Chen up 5. And the shift is happening. While that's happening, we're going to go over Andrew Korsecki. Down 10 positions at the moment, but look at him. Oh, he just comes together with one of the drivers of Pax Oceani team. And I'm going to pull that back. And then we have Cooper McCoy. Oh, he gets unsettled by that weather tech. He was side by side with him, and he is down 19 positions. And that is into turn 3 they went. Unfortunate for him. And everything is still so close. If we're looking at this from P1 to P6, no change has happened. Christopher Daniels up 1 position. Jacob Simmons is up 1 position. Austin McGill lost 2 off that opening start, but in the top 10, we've only had a shuffle of 3 drivers. That's really interesting. Is Christopher Daniels now going to feel the pressure from Jacob Simmons here? He's going to hold that defensive line, but then go back onto the racing line to take in the bus stop. No change there. So we have Alec Brown of Rim Racing had a crash. And here's Alex Authen in P13, up 1 position. And he's got a sister teammate there right ahead of him. I don't think any passing's going to happen, but we'll see. It is turn 1. Maybe they'll get a little racy. And they're not. But you know who is? Mark Foley and Matthew Wyckoff. Mark is up 2 positions. Matthew Wyckoff up 1. Looks like no change there. As Jacob Simmons gets ahead of Christopher Daniel out of that corner. And look at some of these drivers. Jay Smart there taking some of the ground with him as he pressures on. Now he's got the pressure behind him of Christopher Daniel. Oh man, this isn't about strategy, but man, these Pax Oceani drivers are just in the thick of a lot of action. And everybody relatively close, but no change. Elliott Burton, this is an interesting one. He's got Tyler Anderson, who's stuck on his rear, 4/10ths back, 3/10ths back. But you can see that the draft punk racing drivers are really keeping it consistent. They already have a little bit of a pull away from Trey Mistak, who's sitting in P4. He's 1.2 back from P2, not even P1. And then even further back, you have Alan Paris, who's sitting in P5. He now kind of controls this. He's got a little bit of a group following him. And Alex Othen getting ever so close to his sister teammate, but not making a move just yet. And Mark Foley unable to make something happen just yet. Chris Chitterling is a driver that you know would. But is he capable in this? Oh, as we have an overtake there. And that's Noah Hodgkinson and Bryce and Richard Sefra. Who gets ahead into P22. And briefly, we'll take a look here. We have Alec Brown, who actually just parks it. I'm not sure about that one. And we have another. Creighton Kale just parks that as well. Alex Brown back out there. And I'm not sure what to make of this. This will go. No change. Didn't think there was going to be this many drivers on the grid. You said it for. I didn't even set it for max. I think it's like 45 or something. But yikes! It's just unable to pick up everything that's happening out there on the track. Elliott Burton still holding P2, which is the good news there. Alan Paris and Jay Smart are going to go side by side. Let's see what happens here. Jay Smart might pick up a place from Alan Paris into turn 1. They are still side by side, and that's Jacob Simmons, who might join this fight. He's got the draft below. Is this 2 positions lost for Alan Paris? No. Just the 1. Actually not. They are still side by side. And Jacob Simmons does go through, so that's 2 lost for Alan Paris. It's unfortunate. Great move by Jacob Simmons to stay with it. And now we have a real fight on our hands. There are drivers all kind of converging together. Trey Mistak still has a little bit of a gap, but it's only half a second now. And now he's got a full snake forming here all the way behind him. Back to P13. Before we see a 2-second difference to Matthew Wyckoff in 14. That is a lot of drivers still holding contention in the top. I would say we're going to go with the top 13 now. Not even the top 10. And there's Nicholas Massa. He's up 15 positions. And does he have another one? That's 16 if he could take on Bryce Bromback. And that Mercedes AMG, Craig Carroll right behind, who's up 8 positions. And I think he's going to stay ahead, but for how long? Because on the straight, you can see he's pulling back with him. And all that work to secure the spot. They're going to go, ooh, almost go side by side. Whoa! And Bryce Bromback losing out on that entirely. Now has Cooper McCoy to contend with. And 2 spots lost. Is Cooper McCoy going to be able to make something happen here in P29 into turn 1? And good on Craig Carroll to stay in that. Was really close and made the move alongside the driver ahead. And here's Mark Foley battling out for P15, or 17. And that's Chris Lambeth on the inside. And you can see the gap from the leader, Peter Flanner, really holding his own. P15 down is 9.8 seconds. That's a big difference. But if you really look, right there into P10 onward, they are very, very close. It is still up for grabs for what those drivers are doing. Now Mark Foley reeling in Chris Lambeth. And through the gets a great exit. He's going to get a tow. Is this going to be what he needs? Ferrari versus Chevrolet. Who's going to eke out the time here? I don't even know what the BOP is. Which one's faster? I guess it's just which driver's faster for the right now. And he goes for the outside line. That just sets up his line. And no move yet. There's JD Daniel. That's Alex Brown, who's in P45. Alec Brown. Letting the drivers go by. So we already have some lap traffic to contend with. No change for Alex Authen and JD Daniel. And there is Alec Brown off into the grass now. That's unfortunate. And Chris Chitterling, extremely close. He's got Dylan Maroney behind him, 2 tenths down. And you got Mike O'Shins in front of him. It's another Ford. And it looks like that's Alec Brown, who's hasn't conceded the position just yet to those drivers as he takes the bus stop. But on exit, it looks like he's going to be able to move out of the way there. Oh, but what's happening? Chris Chitterling takes the inside line, and he gets by. Dylan Maroney looks to try to make the move too. But now we got Mike O'Shins up top. Oh, look at him. He's almost about to lose the car. He holds it together though, and he's going to stay in this fight. Now look at that. Noah Hodgkinson is getting ahead here. It looked like the bottom line worked out in favor. But it isn't Chris Chitterling who gets ahead on that one. It's Dylan Maroney, who's promoted to P19. Noah Hodgkinson, 20. Chris Chitterling gets... Ooh! Mike O'Shins and Chris Chitterling collide. And that is unfortunate. Mike O'Shins was having a great race there. And the drivers behind are going to get promoted for that. That's a P1 position gain for Richard Severa in the back right there, as you can see in the black and white. Richard Severa is up 7. Eddie Layton is 8. Jeff Koffold is an 8 as well. What a change of events in one corner. But this is a long race. It's lap 8 of 52 for these drivers, so you can still make it back. Giving up is not worth it. Not at the moment. And whether it was by team orders or otherwise, Elliott Burton is leading this race on Peter Flanner into turn 1. Looks like Tyler Anderson's going to make the move. He's got the inside line. And he... Ooh! Yikes! And Tyler Anderson is off. Peter Flanner, because of that, loses 3 positions. Jacob Simmons goes through, and Trey Missack goes through. And honestly, if you're Trey or Jacob, you're probably just saying, we take those. You're not a part of the incident, and you're clear when you went through that incident. So they'll take that gift and they'll move on. Unfortunate. Tyler Anderson's going to feel that one. He's in P13 at the moment. Hopefully he doesn't have any damage. He can just continue climbing back up that hill. 12-minute pit repair. Going to smoke a bowl in the meantime. Oh, Jeff Lubish. That's unfortunate for him. But he's gonna probably come back out, so we'll see him. We'll see him shortly on the grid. Jay Smart only down one position, and he's really been on the attack. And he finally gets past Christopher Daniel. And on the last lap was slower. And it looks like Christopher Daniel's just going to slot in and not make a change. Not make a move. But I think I spoke too soon, as now he takes that top line. And he's going to fight. And wow, Giancarlo Minetti Schliemann also there. Going back and forth. What line to take. How to get in there. Jay Smart now back into P6 where he started this race. He's got actually that was Austin McGill in that Ford that I was looking at, and he powers through. Oh, that was Alan Paris that they were fighting, not Christopher Daniel. I'm sorry about that, folks. That was Alan Paris who was battling it out. And the Pax Oceani Bravo team. And he lost now 3 positions at the start of this race. And he's got to worry about the drivers behind him. And that was the one I'm really looking at. Giancarlo Minetti Schliemann. That was the driver I was mistaking. They're all in purple Porsches. There's too many purple Porsches on the grid. And what can Alex Othman do to respond? He's still up 3 positions at the start of this race, but he's just lost out on a couple. Oh, there are too many Pax Oceani drivers. I keep confusing them. Alan Paris is the one that dropped back. Alex Othman has just nothing but put in more positions gained, has not been passed yet. JD Daniel is the driver he passed, though. So them talking it out, I was kind of surprised this happened. We didn't capture it on camera, but JD Daniel let Alex Othman by. And sister team helping sister team. I wonder if it was just on pace alone, or I'm popping by, let me by. I'm not quite sure. Now, Alex Othman was faster than Zahir Kabani, that pink Mercedes you see there. Last lap. And the relative on the right-hand side there, that's the last lap for each driver as they come across the line. It will change. Sorry, it sounded like Will Buxton there for a second. Richard Sedra started P23, hasn't changed. He's got John Javecki, and John Javecki is the part of the Pax Oceani Alpha team. Kind of out of character for him. He's been in a better form in the races that I've seen him previously, sitting right next to his teammates, but he's got a ways to go if he wants to join them. And now we have Rafael Santos and Tyler Anderson. Oh, Matthew Wyckoff battling through the bus up. They almost go side by side. Ooh, and he gets a little bit of a touch. Maybe no touch. It looked like a touch. That was Chris Lambert flashing his lights there. And is Chris Lambert going to try to go through here on Rafael Santos? He actually goes 3 wide. He's going to make a bold move. He gets ahead of Rafael Santos into the corner. Breaks later, and he's going to take Matthew Wyckoff on entry. Mark Foley Definitely loves this battle. He's there in that Marlboro Ferrari. And just up ahead is Alex Othen. Still behind Zahir Kobani. And these two drivers, going up to Zahir Kobani and Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann, never seen them before. But they are holding their own against some of these seasoned league drivers. That's great to see. Their pace is strong. Zahir losing about 2/10 off the last lap to P9. And Craig Brick down in P42. Ooh, whoa. I'm gonna pull back to that. Yikes! Snap. He's off. We have Elliot Burton. Is this a race for ants? Can't even see that far back. Elliot Burton still holding P1 over Trey Mistack and Jacob Simmons. Now that's Peter Flanner, Alex Brown, and ooh! Alec Brown, Christopher Daniel was flashing his lights, and that's a... I think he held it together. We can't even see him on screen. Yes, he held it together, but yikes. That traffic playing a part, and oh! His two drivers do go off! And that's Zahir Kobani. Ooh! Oh, no! What happened there? That's Alan Paris who gets torpedoed. And Ryan Moore losing it in the bus stop. And that was one of the Pax Oceanis kind of helping out, take out his teammate. I am not sure which one that was. We'll take a look. Pinkar got hit and lost it. Yeah, definitely got hit. I believe that's Alex Othen who tapped him. I'm not faulting blame here, but JD Daniel is now looking to make a move on him. Possibly. Not yet. Glad we rolled that back so it looked much... Yeah, I don't think any... It would be hard-pressed to find that to be intentional. I believe that was... He hit him in the braking zone. How is he going to stop? He's going to go across grass. It's unfortunate there's a right-hand turn there, and his teammate inadvertently turns an opponent into a missile for his teammate. And hopefully he can recover his race from that. And looking at that, so Alan Paris is down 11 positions, but he's in P16. He can reel this back in. There's no doubt there. He's got the pace to do so. If you look at the driver ahead of him, that's Rafael Santos. Rafael Santos' fastest lap was a 145.8. Alan Paris' best lap was a 145.5. 3/10 difference. Not this lap. As you can see, he did have some damage, but we'll see lap by lap. This is going to turn into a 145, low 145 driver on pace in the race pace. He's going to gain some positions. Maybe not where he wants to be, but sometimes that's it. JD Daniel getting ahead of Alex Othen, and that is the Pax Oceani crab cake. as Christopher Daniel sets the fastest lap for Pax Oceani Alpha. And Austin McGill battling out for P7 with Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann. And they were almost side by side into turn 1, but it didn't happen there. Just hope Alan doesn't have too much damage. That is true, but I believe there's no fast repair for this one, maybe not. There have been fast repairs for other races. There was talk of a safety car for the first 20 laps or something like that, first 20 minutes. But I think even if you look at what happened on lap 1, there would have been a safety car, considering some of those drivers that got damaged in that melee. As we have Mark Foley up 4 positions off the start of this race. Looked like he was going to have a little bit of a sniff at Matthew Wyckoff, but he's not just yet. And here's Jacob Simmons. We'll go on board. The Bush's Baked Beans with Lambdoc Duke Memorial Race Team. Jacob Simmons in P3. He's got Trey Mistak, and he goes to the outside line into the corner. They're going to go side by side. He exits strong, but is it enough? No. Trey Mistak covers that off, but he's going to go for the inside line, and he might have it here, folks. For P2, Jacob Simmons, possibly, as they go side by side down this straight and into the next corner. Peter Flanders going to love this. He lost P2. He lost P1, actually. And now he's got a chance. He's got Christopher Daniel in P5. Jay Smart is down 3 seconds back from this fight. So I don't think it's going to happen just yet for him to join the fight, but great result for Jacob Simmons, being up 6 positions at the start of this race. I thought that was going to be it. It looks like he's going to have to try again. Trey Mistak is going to pull a half-second gap. And the battle for P2 is going to continue. We have Tyler Anderson. He's clawed back 3 positions from the incident that happened earlier in this race. He was in top contention in the top 3, top 4. And he's got J.D. Daniel of the Pax Oceani Crab Cake to deal with. They're going to go side by side. And Tyler Anderson gets ahead with the fastest lap. Now talk about a man with a plan. He has a mission, and that is 2 positions gained off that last lap. From the looks of it, he's now down only 5 positions. As he's got Austin McGill ahead of him in P7. The man has been pulling in fastest lap after fastest lap, and as it stands, he does have the fastest lap. But he's done that consistently, so he might have a little bit of rage tucked in with him. Might be feeling his anger to really push on and get back in the fight for the top steps here. Maybe not. That's speculation, folks. We'll move away from that. We have Ricardo Espino, who's going very slowly. And this was registered as a crash. And there's a driver behind him. Oh, he doesn't have any fuel. Who is that helping him? Oh, they dip him into the wall. That's Ryan Moore I'm not sure what to make of that. What? I don't know what that was. All right, we got pit stops, folks. It looked like he was helping him, and then it's sayonara into the wall. He definitely ran out of fuel, or because I mean that's definitely what happened. But unfortunate for that driver. Elliott Burton has elected to stay out. Peter Flanner is in the pits. Trey Mistack is in the pits. Austin McGill in the pits. Tyler Anderson in the pits. We're going to see a whole pit stop, folks. Let's go to the chopper, get a better view of that. As Peter Flanner looks to be the one driver who might not even go full fuel. Maybe he goes a little bit less dashes so he can get ahead of these drivers. Trey Mistack goes ahead of him already. Then there goes Jacob Simmons. So no change there in the order for them. Peter Flanner out there, and that's Christopher Daniel just behind. Actually gains a little because he was a little bit further back from this pack before the pit stop. Now what's going to happen? The shakeup is going to be immense. Elliott Burton has to really nail his entry and his pit stop. Stay ahead in P1. We'll see what happens. Trey Mistack is in the infield. Is the undercut going to work for Trey Mistack, Jacob Simmons? And I always wonder about these ones is the overcut has been beneficial for some, but is it going to be beneficial for Elliott Burton? And we really want to see if he can just get right there. And he is up. Fueling. You see a driver passing the start straight finish. That's not even sure which driver that was, but oh, you see that in the background. That's I think Alex Authen, who missed his pit stop right there. That's rough. And there you go. You can see the beans in the foreground. And did the beans count? And he finally gets that. No, the overcut did not work. The undercut did. Trey Mistack goes ahead, and so does Jacob Simmons. So Draft Punk Racing, who were holding the front row at the start of this race, have now been dethroned from that row as Trey Mistack and Jacob Simmons are now in the battle for the lead. And just behind is Christopher Daniel looking to make a move on Peter Flanner. I'm not sure if it's going to happen just yet. And what a well-timed pit stop. It really changed up the order. You can see Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann got up to P6. Jay Smart dropped down one position to 7. Austin McGill splits the difference. He was on the heels of Giancarlo, but not making it happen off their pit stop. As he reels him in, is he going to try to make a move into turn 1? Look at him, almost on his bumper. And there goes Elliott Burton taking P2 on the inside line. Oh, you hate to see it. Tyler Anderson topping off with the fastest lap with a 144.6. We didn't even see that in qualifying. The fastest qualifying time was a 144.9. And I wonder how much fuel he has in his tank, because Tyler Anderson is belting through the field right now. If we look back, he's only lost one spot, but he's closer to Austin McGill this round. And now Jay Smart has got to be thinking about these two American GT3s right behind him. A scary thought to see how wide those things are when you're just a Porsche. Back over to Jacob Simmons, who's keeping close. While he was passed by Elliott Burton, he is still within 2/10 of Elliott Burton. He's been 2/10 back. And can he make a move? No, he can't. Sorry. Not there, but Christopher Daniel and Peter Flanner, in the same respect, just two cars back from that battle, look to be having the same type of battle as Elliott Burton and Jacob Simmons are having. Christopher Daniel, the Porsche behind and not in front. And if there's ever going to be a time that Tyler Anderson's going to make a move, it's going to be soon. You can see Austin McGill taking a little bit closer entry on the right side there. Maybe trying to fend off Tyler Anderson, be a slightly defensive, but not so defensive here. And just look at the last lap difference. He did a 1:44.7. He was 2/10 slower than the fastest lap that he previously did. But he's still faster than the drivers ahead of him by a significant margin. With how many laps there are in this race, we could clearly see that Tyler Anderson is going to cut away at the leader. He's only 8 seconds back, and he got pulled down 10 positions not 10 laps ago, 12 laps ago. Huge margin. An impressive run right now for Tyler Anderson. As we have Rafael Santos and Matthew Wyckoff. No position changed so far with these drivers. Chris Lambeth has been ahead of Matthew Wyckoff for a while. Actually, all three of them basically in the same steady stream. Similar race pace. I'm not even sure what kind of livery that is. Some type of anime thing. Yeah, something. It ain't beans, that's for sure. Now, we're gonna be... The sun is setting, folks. The weather's changing. We're gonna see probably the track temp cooling, as well as it turning into night. We'll have to battle the element of light. And that's Christopher Daniel. If you're looking at that in the background, they're in P4 and 5, and he is 0/10 separating them here. They were bumper to bumper. And so is so is Jacob Simmons, but no move has happened there. But further back, there is a move that looked like it was going to happen, and that was Austin McGill, Jay Smart, and Tyler Anderson Some really close battles happening in the top 15. And here's another one. Rafael Santos might go side by side here into turn 1. And he does. Oh, but doesn't have the power down alongside Matthew Wyckoff. No move there. Here we got Justin Scott just ahead in P16 of Dylan Maroney, Mark Foley, Noah Hodgkinson. And that's a little bit of a train for him for these 4 drivers, all with similar race pace. They're still holding out there. Noah Hodgkinson up 5 positions. No. Is that Craig Carroll up there in P39? I think he's on the high line to give them all space. As Trey Mistak goes through, Elliot Burton goes through, Jacob Simmons going through. Look how close this driver is. Nothing separating these two. But hasn't been able to make a move yet. But still an impressive drive for Christopher Daniel, who's in the Pax Oceani Alpha team. I think kind of the mastermind behind the Pax Oceani sister teams, fielding a 3rd team on the grid when there are some drivers that don't even have teams. We have Mike Braun and Michael O'Shins battling out here. I believe Mike Braun got ahead. That's one. Yeah, he did get ahead, but is he going to be able to stay ahead? Down into turn 1 we go. It's Eric Rodriguez in the background. He's up 10 positions. And he stays ahead. Oh, Jay Smart. Off track. That's unfortunate. He lost 2 positions there. But he's going to continue with it. And Tyler Anderson finally making the move happen. He gets ahead of Austin McGill into turn 1. Before the turn itself, can Austin McGill respond? No, he cannot at this moment. That's Craig Carroll letting them all by. Now it's 4 positions lost for Tyler Anderson as he climbs his way back up the ladder. He's getting ever so much closer to where he started. That's mighty impressive after the pit stop. Still pulling in some bangers of laps here. Did a 1:45.3 last. Now he's got to think about a driver ahead of him who's 1.2 seconds up. So this battle is going to happen a little bit later. It's Dylan Maroney. I don't think any moves have changed. Nothing in this order has changed since last time we looked at them. We'll go further down the order. Got Rodrigo Theory and Bryce Bomback. Rodrigo Theory up 9 positions for the Rim Racing driver. Alec Brown, his teammate, down in P43. And Jason Chen rounding that out. You can see Charles Whedon is further back. And I guess the pace difference here. Ooh, as we have a driver who's off into turn 1. Take a look at that. Matthew Baldwin. He's on the Pax Oceani Crab Cake team. He has just spun it there. Trying to rejoin safely. And Elliott Burton at some point took the lead there. Definitely not in the confusion, but he's got now Jeff Lubish ahead of him in P42. Blake Nave in 34. What he lost in the pit stop, he's regained on track. Trey Mistack, who was ahead of Jacob Simmons, is now down. It doesn't show anything on race control of anyone going off or an incident, so not sure what to make of that one. And there they go by. And it felt like 3 laps ago I said the sun is setting, and we're already at the black of night. That's just a joke, folks. The weather has been, the timing was increased so that it happens faster, and yeah, I'm aware. No one come at me after this race is over. It's just a small joke. As we have Jacob Simmons. Most impressive so far out of this driver is that he's up 7 positions at the start of this race. He's sitting P2. Peter Flanders, 3.7 seconds back. I don't know if Peter Flanders is going to be able to find the rhythm again. You know, after that incident, he's just kind of been where he's at. He hasn't moved up or down in the order. Oh. And out of this, Justin Scott still leading with the last lap of 146.1. And you can see Dylan Maroney, 146, almost a 1. Rounding up, it would be. Noah Hoskinson with a 146. Rounding up would be 142. But not much has changed. Mark Foley doesn't have a last lap recorded because he had an off track, more than likely. But they just have the similar pace. And this is in, you know, P15 to P18. Further back, if you actually really look at it, you have like Blake Nave, who's got Steve McAllister ahead of him, 8.4 seconds. Andrew Gorstecki in 32 with a huge margin to go for some of these drivers ahead of him by a large sum. We can only look further towards the front of this grid to see the pace is still there for a lot of these drivers where they're at. Now, there were also some accidents, so that puts some people out of contention. Andrew Gorstecki had a first lap incident, so that puts him out. He's a driver that has the pace to really be in some fights here. And I'd be interested to see if any of these drivers here will make a move. Because they've stayed neutral for so many laps. I think it's going to be one of those... You hope your competitor makes a mistake. Like Jacob Simmons, who's been... As we have several drivers in the pit lane. Is this going to be the big shakeup here? Austin McGill still sitting behind Tyler Anderson. they're not in the pit lane. I don't know why the sport would show that way. Interesting. Trey Mistack in P3. It's 1.1 seconds back. Looks like he isn't going to be able to join this fight just yet. That's Blake Nave letting them by. Crucially letting Trey Mistack by as well. And on board with Austin McGill, who hasn't let Tyler Anderson go. This is his battle for P7. And Austin, I would have assumed to some degree Tyler Anderson was just going to continue to keep that momentum, push lap after lap after lap. And whoa! That looked a little bit dicey from the inside perspective of Austin McGill. You don't want to crash out your competitor. I don't think he was going to, but it looked close. So we pull over to Rafael Santos. It's kind of confusing. Maybe something happened in the pit lane, but Chris Lambeth and Rafael Santos had another driver that was with them on this little excursion during race pace. That, you know, they had 3 of them here, and now there's only 2 of them. One can only imagine what happened with the other one. That other driver that was a part of this. Go over to Matthew Baldwin of Pax Oceani Crab Cake. Oh, that was the last we saw this one, actually. There's Jacob Simmons on the inside line. He goes ahead of Elliott Burton into turn 1. But can Elliott Burton respond? It looks like he's putting the power down. I don't think it's enough. And Jacob Simmons is now leading this race for the first time in this race. And if he can continue, that'll be a switch of 3 race leaders so far. Actually 4, because Trey Mistack was leading on 1 point. So, what a move. And tuning in just in time for that as well. So Christopher Daniel got ahead of Peter Flanner for P4. And no change in the order here. And one change that I'll make note of is that on the score, on the standings, that is going to be an interval gap between each driver. So if you're looking at that, you'll see that is just going to be the interval, which you can see on the relative. But it just gives you a little bit more perspective on who's battling who right at this moment in time in the top 15. So yeah, like Rafael Santos in 12, half a second back from Chris Lambeth. And then Peter Flanner, half a second back. Elliott Burton, half a second back. But really, there's been some big gaps that have formed. I think Chris Lambeth from the P9 to P10 onward is just really where it starts to pull away. on the timing sheets. And Tyler Anderson still holding the fastest lap with a 144.686. There's Giancarlo Manetti. Fleeman gets passed by not one, but possibly two drivers. Austin McGill is on the outside line. Is he going to pass him? He's gotten ahead, but is he going to stay ahead in the braking zone? They go. He does. Tyler Anderson up another position. Austin McGill up another position. Giancarlo Manetti, Schliemann still up 2 from the start of this race as he started P10. And I think Tyler Anderson is now back close in contention with Peter Flanner, who's 2 seconds up the road. Tyler Anderson flashes because he would like Eric Koonsman to get out of the way for the lap traffic, and he does so for everybody, including Jay Smart, who's there in the background, also making that transition. Now, further back, we have Zahir Kubani and Nicholas Mazza. Zahir in the pink Mercedes. This is a driver that was in the top 10. He's only... And can he make this move on Nicholas Mazza for P20? You remember he had contact with one of the Pax Oceani drivers that sent him into another Pax Oceani driver. He was the means for which a torpedo was launched between two sister teammates. So there's probably no drama there. I think it's just like, oh man, they'll probably laugh about it after the race is over. Justin Scott gets passed by Mark Foley for P14. And maybe some people have... I don't think anyone's gone in the pit lane, but Nick... Gonna go back here. Noah Hodgkinson. Take a look at him. Maybe he's gone into the pit lane. I'm not quite sure. But he's in P26. Shows no incident. And there's a massive... Okay, he did go into the pits. And so Justin Scott gets ahead of Mark Foley. So we're going to see another shift in the order. Pit strategies are coming back into play for that second pit. And are they going to go full fuel to the end of the race? Do they have enough for the end of the race? I believe so. It's gonna shape up that way. Now Justin Scott's up there. Now where is... Oh, he's gone further back in the lineup. Noah Hodgkinson is in P26. Did he go early? Is this what I'm seeing here now? And I had to double check if I was even on the live. You can see he goes through and overtakes both those drivers of Justin Scott and Mark Foley. What a move for Noah Hodgkinson, who's now climbing back up. And Elliott Burton goes fastest with a 144.4. Wow, what a move. Or what a lap. Nicholas Massa and Michael O'Shin's going side by side. Nicholas Mazza up 29 positions at the start of this race. What an insane number there. And if I had to give this to anyone, I'm going to think Michael O'Shins is going to stay ahead here. And Mike Braun and Eric Rodriguez are joining this fight. Nicholas Mazda taking the... going into the pit lane. This is Mike Braun on the outside in the Dunkin' Donut. I think he's going to get overtaken here by Eric Rodriguez. Is it possible? No. Now, Mark Foley in P23. The only change here is Andrew Korostecki is actually clawing his way back from that incident. He's now up 7 positions off the start of this race. Eddie Layton and Richard Sever are battling it out for P13. Richard Sever in the black and yellow there. Eddie Layton gets ahead and is going to take P13. Jay Smart in 15. But we'll have to wait on that as we look in the drivers that are all in the pit lane. Peter Flanner also in the pit lane. Now, this hurt Elliott Burton last go-around. He didn't pit and went for the overcut. Jacob Simmons is out of the pit lane. Peter Flanner is out of the pit lane. Got Christopher Daniel. Trey Mistak. Trey Mistak, Christopher Daniel, Peter Flanner, Tyler Anderson, who's now just 1 second away from a driver. I don't even believe it was... He had contact with one of the drivers. I think it was Elliott Burton that he had contact with, though. Not Peter Flanner. But he's managed to claw back a race for himself. Getting toe-to-toe with the drivers that are in the top 5. And just right outside it. And changes in the order are happening. And now we'll see Elliott Burton and whether or not this is going to matter for him. He stays out. He is going against the grain of what everyone else has been doing. It took him several laps to retake P1. And if he went in now, he'd probably feel it. Because Jacob Simmons looks to be closer. The gap is 42.3 seconds. With fuel, possibly tires, or like just halves. I don't think he has the time here to be... Yeah, it's going to be an interesting to see. How many more laps is he going to continue doing that? And back over to Elliott Burton as he's approaching the line, or actually he's approaching bus stop. I'm curious to see if this driver is going to make the move. He's got a good healthy gap. It's 42.3. It was 43.3 last go around, so he's lost a second. And I think it's actually changing even a little bit more. All right, he's going into the pit lane. Trey Mistak is 4.7 seconds back with Christopher Daniel in P4 and Peter Flanner in P5. I'm not sure what happened here, folks, but Jacob Simmons has a comfortable gap, who previously wasn't comfortable at all. Now he's got to get out there shortly as he's approaching the start straight finish. Jacob Simmons now down into turn 1. There's Peter Flanner, or Elliot Burton, who's going to get ahead and stay ahead. Andrew Cody gets out of the way there for these two drivers. And further back, the battle for P3 is close. Tyler Anderson in the background there, the last car in this little gaggle. Peter Flanner into Draft Punk Racing. Christopher Daniel and Pax Oceani Alpha. Trey Mistek, who doesn't have a team. Isn't that great? Austin McGill had a little bit more of a comfortable gap to Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann and Jay Smart, but that has gone away. And even more disturbing, if we go over to him, he's got a 4.6 second gap, 4.5 second gap to Tyler Anderson, who was previously pressuring. So a little bit of a dip in performance on some of these laps. Yeah, maybe a bad pit stop. We have noticed that as Jacob Simmons is right now on the rear of Elliot Burton. And I don't think it's going to happen here yet, folks. Is Christopher Daniel going to make a move in turn one? He's just still slotted in. And now Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann on the inside overtakes Austin McGill for P7. Can Austin McGill respond? And Jay Smart is somewhere. I'm not sure where he's at. He's out of contention for that position. Oh, I know what happened. Let's look at it. Jay Smart. What? All right, Jay Smart just calls it. Blake Nave in P32 loses it into turn one. Matthew Baldwin, the Pax Oceani crab cake. Oh no, into the wall he goes. And Zahir, ooh, that looks like it's a multi-tier one. Let's take it back. He's in the bus stop, and he's into the wall. And then Dylan Maroney in P19. Ooh, misses the bus stop. He's back out there. And we're at lap 39 of 52. This has been a long race. Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann stays ahead of of Austin McGill. And there's Andrew Cody. You know, in a similar fashion, Andrew Cody has been caught out there on another lap where we've seen him. And that's unfortunate because, you know, you still have your own race, but such an awkward spot to go wide and let people pass. There was a little bit of pressure for Giancarlo here as he did have Austin McGill almost going neck and neck with him into some of those corners. But it didn't happen. No change was made there. Hop over to Eddie Layton, who's got Chris Chitterling half a second behind him. Having a pretty decent race. He's 60 positions gained. Justin Scott ahead of him 5 seconds, roughly. go over to Noah Hoskinson. He's got Eric Koonsman and Craig Carroll. Lap traffic as he goes by. And, you know, Eric Koonsman up 11 positions at the start. He's P32, but make no mistake, there's still some strong positions gained. You can see Noah Hoskinson's 4.6 seconds ahead of Mark Foley, making up some ground. Now, curiously, Tyler Anderson, last lap was not recorded. I'd like to see how he's doing here. Maybe we do a driver compare here. Doesn't show up. That gap you're seeing in the middle is not a comparison to Giancarlo Manetti-Schliemann, but a comparisonable gap to the driver ahead of him, which is Peter Flanner, which you can already see on the relative, so it really doesn't really help you. It's just more about the previous lap that we're trying to get a look at, but not helpful, I would say. Michael O'Shins is behind Mike Braun, down in position, battling out for P21. Mike Braun got ahead. Eric Rodriguez close behind. And jumping back over to Jacob Simmons, who's now as close as I think he's ever been. Elliott Burton, no move into the braking zone here. But is Christopher Daniel going to make a move? Nothing yet out of him as well. And that's Jeff Lubish, who's coming out of the pit lane. And we won't see another shakeup of pit stops. So that part is over. We're just looking at the end of this race now with 11 to go. Who can make the difference? It looks like this battle of leaders here. It's Elliott Burton or Jacob Simmons who's going to win this race. Trey Mistak is kind of too far back right now. He's got time to cut into this, but he really hasn't been gaining since the pit stops. And he's got Christopher Daniel and Peter Flanner right there on his heels. Alan Paris, who's in P12, looking at Chris Lambeth ahead of him, and Rafael Santos, who got ahead of Chris Lambeth at one point, maybe on a sheer pass or in the pit stops, but P9 to P10 is 9 seconds. Don't think he has to worry about Chris Lambeth at the moment, but over a couple laps, he definitely will have to. All right, folks. Taking a look at Chris Schitterling and Eddie Layton battling it out here. One in a Merc, the other in the Ford. Looking at last laps, it looks like Chris Schitterling's a little bit faster, 4/10 faster. Wondering if this is going to be a time for him to make a move. We've seen a lot of people make a move after this long stretch on the banking. I don't think he's quite close enough for a move. And we've seen drivers who are like right there on the rear of another driver and not make moves. So I don't think it's quite possibly there just yet for Chris Schitterling. And looking back, Tyler Anderson, 1.6 seconds back from Peter Flanner, 1.7 now. I'm kind of wondering what's going on with his pace. He's actually going faster. Trey Mistak defending on the inside line on Christopher Daniel, because Christopher Daniel definitely wanted to try to make a move there. Austin McGill close. Nothing yet. Tyler Anderson, he's actually gaining on them. But his last lap was on par with Peter Flanner, so no true pace on that one. The previous lap to that, though, he was 0.4 faster than Peter Flanner. So it's going to be a short gains per lap, but by the end of this race, we could see Tyler Anderson really making a move on Peter Flanner, as there's been close racing all across the grid here. Going further back. Just trying to find... Got Michael O'Shins here and Mike Braun, who have been battling out for most of this race. Even after the pit stops, they are still neck and neck. Just going board. Ooh. Had to take a little bit of an evasive action there. You can see his wheel was micro adjusting. To that yeah. Go to Alan Paris, who he's clawed back his race. Not to where he started, but he's clawed it back a lot. He's P11 right now, and he's got Rafael Santos, and it looks like Rafael Santos is taking the high line on the banking. I think this is going to put Alan Paris into P10. I don't even think that was really about defending there. Only 5 loss for the man who was hit by a torpedo. And not even their torpedo's fault, mind you. Just a passenger to an incident. Well, he was the driver and the passenger. But then again, there's only so much you can do in grass, so... this is a long race, folks. And is that Austin McGill and Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann? Now he goes for the high line, and I'm not quite sure why. He really just let him take the position without a fight. And Austin McGill now into P7. Is there something to do with fuel saving there, perchance? Not the high line part, but just kind of coasting. Because it looked like he just lifted like he's a back marker. But he's not. And the battle for P16 still rages on, as Eddie Layton has kept himself in good form. Hasn't made mistakes. He's got Chris Chitterling barreling at him right now. And that's Indrikor Stecki in the background, in the blue and green board. Letting by Elliott Burton and Jacob Simmons. Trey Mistak is 4.1 seconds down, or 4.1 seconds back. I believe that was a full second gained. He's got to do a little bit more if he wants to get closer to those drivers. Can Jacob Simmons make a move? Now, would he want to make the move here, or is he going to want to try to do it for closer to when the race is ending, so he doesn't have to defend as much? They have been neck and neck, and they're as far as laps traded on last lap, there's only half a second between them. We had 48 drivers start this race, mind you. 48 drivers. That is a massive amount of support for this league. You usually see that on like the first round, and we're here on the fourth round. We're at Daytona on season 9. It is incredible that people showed up for this event, and it is a more lengthy one, a 90-minute race. With only a few laps remaining, it's impressive. Impressive to see the majority of the grid has stayed in it. And I will say that quite possibly there's a couple in the pits, but from P36, maybe P37, I think P38 onward, we lost. We lost 10 drivers. Some early on, and some later on, but, you know, it happens. Still no change in the order here. But can Christopher Daniel make something happen on Trey Mistack? Also in the same boat, is he waiting for the laps to just tick down and get to the final part and make a move and try to hold it on for one lap? Juan Carlo Manetti Schliemann is close to Austin McGill, are separated by 0.3. Chris Chitterling and Eddie Layton not as close as previous. Half a second separates these two drivers. I think Eddie Layton is going to be able to hold on to his spot for now, as long as he keeps this clean. And on the track, goes to show you, though, like, consistency matters, and Eddie Layton is consistent. He's up 16 positions at the start of this race, and he hasn't... I'm going to be curious if he has any incidents. Oh, look at this. Christopher Daniel looks like he has a run on Trey Mistack. Ooh. He's getting awfully close. Through the banking they went, down the start straight finish. He's got lap traffic, not contending for the anything there. Andrew Korsecki got out of the way. Per the league rules, you know, lap traffic, blue flags do matter, so please get out of the way and let the drivers on the current lap continue as fast as they can. Give them the space to do so. Was really close. As we're 5 laps to go. And it looks like Trey Mistack was flashing somebody. But there's no drivers quite ahead of him just yet. Oh, Chris Chitterling has gone into the pit lane with 5 laps to go. That is no bueno. Which means not good for anybody that doesn't know that. Ah, yikes. I don't know what you can say about that. Chris Chitterling is back out. He did a splash and dash for sure. He didn't have enough, but he's going to drop down the order. And he's actually right where he started this race in P21. As Eddie Layton, now has Craig Carroll behind him, who's in P34. Justin Scott's 3.5 seconds up on him. And it looks like Eddie Layton's going to be able to hold on to this position if he just keeps it together and doesn't make any mistakes. He's not under any threat at the moment. On board with Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann, who is sitting P8 in the Porsche. He's got Austin McGill ahead of him. There's 3 cars that are lapped right now. P25, 26, and 27. And they still have a race on their hands. They still have positions they don't want to lose. P26 and 27 are right ahead, so when both of them have to lift, they don't want to lose time to their competitor because their race still matters. So interesting to see how they both let these 2 drivers by. I'd say not as easy as other times. As the windshield wipers went on, must have a button map for that. And they're sort of slowly letting them by. And side by side they go. Elliott Burton and Jacob Simmons are going to go into 2 corners now. 3 corners side by side. This is Jacob Simmons' attempt. And it doesn't look like he succeeds just yet. But is he not letting go here? He's looks to peek to the inside. And the move that looked like it was on for him, it's unfortunately gone away. He's going to have to try again with 3 laps to go. Elliott Burton holds on for now. Same thing with Giancarlo's. Was close, but not a move yet. Peter Flanner, half a second off. Christopher Daniel, 3/10 difference separating them. I don't think it's going to happen just yet for those drivers. But this might be another full-on attempt. Can Jacob Simmons do it? These drivers have been going at it for over 10 laps now. They've been this close for 10 laps. With 2 to go, Elliott Burton is really keeping together. He started P2. He's going to finish P1. I was about to Will Buxton that. I shouldn't have. If he stays P1, he'll finish P1. He's got a lap traffic, though. He's got a lot of it in front of him. He's got Matthew Baldwin, who gets out of the way there for both drivers, staying on the high line. So he's got to worry about all of the lap traffic. As Jacob Simmons is going to have one lap to go. Or if this is the final lap, I don't believe it's that they're waving that. I feel like if that was the final lap, I think Jacob Simmons would have given a little bit more to fight for that top spot. This is the final lap. This is going to be really crazy if he goes for it. He sends it down the inside, and they go side by side. It is! It's finishing! And that is something else. As we'll get a replay as they come together and Jacob Simmons wins the race. And what an ender. We still have drivers out there on track. We have Dylan Maroney. And is going to finish next to what I think is his teammate. That was Eric Koonsman. Noah Hoskinson. Ooh! I'm not sure what happened there, folks. Is Noah slowing down? Oh my, it looks like he actually is. I think he's going to concede the place. To let Dylan Maroney by. He does, but in doing so, he lets Michael O'Shins and Mike Braun by. And then there's Nicholas Massa, who's still battling it out with somebody, Justin Scott. Looks like Nicholas Massa is going to win that one out. What a race. Everyone has mostly finished here. Jeff Lubish is one of the few still out there. We'll take a look here at the results. We have Jacob Simmons in P1, Elliot Burton in P2, Trey Missack in P3, Christopher Daniel in P4, Peter Flanner in 5, Tyler Anderson in 6, Austin McGill in 7, Giancarlo Manetti Schliemann in 8, JD Daniel in 9, Alan Paris in 10, Rafael Santos in 11, Chris Lameth in 12, Eddie Layton in 13, Richard Sever in 14, Michael O'Shins in 15, Mike Braun in 16, Dylan Maroney in 17, Noah Hoskinson in 18, Nicholas Massa in 19, Justin Scott in 20, Chris Schittling in 21, Eric Rodriguez in 22, Mark Foley in 23, John Javecki in 24, Andrew Korsecki in 25, Jason Chen in 26, Blake Nave in 27. It'd be weird if that was like Nave. Anyway, P28 is Charles Whedon, Eric Koonsman in 29, Steve McAllister in 30, Rodrigo Theory in 31, Andrew Cody in 32, Bryce Bombeck in 33, Matthew Baldwin in 34, Craig Carroll in 35, Jeff Lubish in 36, Jay Smart, who had a really strong race out of this race. He was in P6 at one point. P27 37 for him. Sahir Kabani, another driver, unfortunate. He's in P38. Matthew Wyckoff in 39. Jeff Koffold in 40. Alex Authen in 41. Alexander Light in 42. Ricardo Espino in 43. Ryan Moyer in 44. Craig Brick in 45, Cooper McCoy in 46, Creighton Kale in 47, and Alec Brown in 48. What a race, folks. Thank you for joining me. Can't wait to see you guys next week. weekend on Sunday for round 5. And hope you guys have a good one.